the service.
So how do you become now the acting national commissioner?
I don't know whether I should thank my grandmother, wherever she is, because I was sleeping and I was going to wake up in the next morning to travel with the National Commission of Police to visit Mpumalanga province. When I get a phone call from the General Ladla, who was in charge of the presidential team, then he says to me that the minister wants to see me in the morning. I did not know the reason for that call. I then had to phone the chief of staff at the office, actually spokesperson of the Minister of Police at the time, who was a spokesperson. That general was a spokesperson of the National Commission, General Bheki, because he was the National Commission of the Police. I phoned her and I told her, say, we're supposed to be traveling in the morning with a police jet to Mpumalanga. I've been called by the minister, so I'm no longer traveling. I don't know what he wants. But ordinarily, because I'm from the Special Task Force at the time, and I'm in charge of the component that deals with Special Task Force and all these high-risk operations, from time to time, if the presidential team have got some risks that they've identified somewhere, they always call on us to come and provide that technical support on them. I thought maybe there's something that might be a threat, either with the president, team, or somewhere that the minister wanted to talk about. I arrive in his house and he says to me, the president wanted to see me, so I must go and meet the president. I went to the president and the president says, I've now taken a decision to appoint you as the acting national commissioner because we are suspending General Bheki based on the procurement of that building in Pretoria. So it came as a shock. And that was that. That's how I was appointed.
Who's the president at that time?
President Zuma.
Who's the minister?
Minister Mthethwa, Nathi Mthethwa, the late.
And then how do you leave that position of acting?
And ceremoniously so, because I was frustrated with the role that the minister was playing over Mdluli over time. And I felt that I cannot be able to work within the political space in this fashion. If this is how the people operate or occupying these positions supposed to interact with executive authority, I'm not willing to take instructions of this nature because they are not right. They are wrong. They are encroaching into the management responsibility of the police commission, of the national commissioner. Maybe I must talk about the experience that also I had learned prior to that. Mdluli is the only general in the South African Police Service that was ever appointed by the panel of ministers in the history since we started in 95 to date. I said the Act only allows a minister to appoint a national head, nobody else. But the Mdluli's post panel was presided over by the late Minister Mthethwa, and I don't know who are the panel members that were part of it. The person who was the acting national commissioner at the time, Commissioner Williams, was excluded from the process. Mdluli then gets appointed. So which then Mdluli, there was intention of getting Mdluli at crime intelligence by all means. For what good reason and what experience did Mdluli had at the time? From my assessment, I realized there was other reasons other than his competency to do the job that made him to be rewarded by being given a crime intelligence post by the minister at the time. So fast forward to that. When there is these disciplinary steps taken against Mdluli, the ministers want to intervene and say, you can't do this and that. You can't discipline a man. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. The minister. So we then confirmed that he brought him into the organization because it was a reward for him to come in there. And so that conflict and having assessed these things, and I must say, Honorable Chair and members, I did not know about the Guptas before until Sheraton Hotel in Pretoria, when I was invited to meet these gentlemen by the late minister who says, do not use City Press and Sunday Time to advertise. We always advertise posts on those newspapers because they've got a big footprint in the country. We're looking for something, we advertise on those newspapers. And the minister says, don't use those papers because they are not helping, they don't want to transform and so forth. Use New Age. Yeah, well, I thought, okay, maybe we need to rotate papers, maybe New Age must have an opportunity. I didn't even know what is New Age. Then I went to the office. When I presented this thing to the management, they said to me, you know who owns New Age? I said, no, who owns it? They say the Guptas. I said, okay, so is wrong. At the time, remember, I'm coming from operational side. I don't even know what this Gupta is about. They said, no, these ones are implicated politically in this fashion and that fashion. Besides, they don't have the footprint equal to what the Sunday Times and City Press has. So if we advertise through them, a lot of people are not going to get information anyway, because they don't supply their papers across the land and breadth of the country. So that's how I got to expose. So taking those and adding them together, then I realized I'm in deep in a political space here, and I'm not comfortable with this, and I cannot take it. I'm either going to fight with the minister, which is going to end ugly. Let me tell the president that this is not what I signed for. So it's either the president allows the minister to do what he does, or he let me go and go back to the operations and chase criminals. So that's how the president decided he's going to bring someone, and then Jarpiaga came. And indeed, I went to sit at home for a year without doing anything.
Now, when the minister communicates to you not to continue with cases against Mdluli, how does he do that? Does he write a letter? Does he call a meeting? How does he communicate that? Please stop cases against Mdluli.
Yeah, he called me into a meeting in his residence, and it is in his residence where he was in company of the Inspector General of Intelligence, Advocate Gupta, the late, where he says to me that the advocate was telling him that I forced her, that she must recommend that Mdluli be charged. That's where we had a debate, because I did not force her. And I told the minister, if you want me to do what you say I must do, put it in black and white. And they did not want to put it in black and white. Instead, he instructed the Inspector General to put it in black and white, so that I use Inspector General's recommendations for me not to charge Mdluli. That is on a disciplinary part. But on the criminal part, it was not the minister directly, but it was Advocate Mkhwanazi from the NPA. I hope the members have got Advocate Bredenbach, who's an MP here, who's a member of this committee. Perhaps she must come and sit here and talk to ad hoc committee and explain what was her role on that case, because I understand that she was the one who was holding that criminal case against Mdluli, where she was instructed, from what I was told, to withdraw that case from court. That had already said. So why did she then comply with that instruction? I have no clue.
Now, when communicate to the president that we're engaged in some illegal activity which I didn't sign up for, how do you communicate that to the president? Because the president would have ordinarily asked for something in a written form. What did they say to you? Or did you write to the president? How did you communicate this to the president, that there's something going on, which is not up to what we are expected to do as police?
It is unfortunate that I did not write to him. I went there in person. So I had a one-on-one engagement with the president about it. And you're correct, honorable member, would have expected the president to conduct some investigation on this thing. But the president didn't. He simply said, okay, if you're having issues with the minister, just give me time. I'm going to appoint someone else to take over from you. And that was the end of the meeting.
And that's President Zuma we're talking about?
That's correct.
We did not do anything about this matter when you communicated to him that we have been invited into doing wrong things?
Yeah, no, they didn't do anything about it.
Now, why do they put you at home after releasing you? They went to fetch you from your position, ask you to come and act, and then when you say, I can't be part of a criminal syndicate, you are sent home. What do they communicate to you around that time? What is the reason of you staying at home?
Honorable members, when I had met with the minister, I called the entire top management of the SAPS and I told them what transpired in the minister's residence. And I told them that they must prepare themselves, that they are all going to be fired and they're going to be victimized, because whoever is going to come in is going to come with a mandate that perhaps will say they must get rid of everyone. Some of the senior managers took me serious, others did not take me serious. But because I was prepared for that, indeed that will happen. Maybe General Bheki must come here and explain why she did not allocate me a post for that long and allow me to sit at home and draw a salary every month. She will have to come and explain that, because she was the boss. She's the one who's going to have to come and explain that despite my experience, as I've displayed here, that she will choose to appoint junior people to go and act in positions that they did not have much of experience of, whereas I'm sitting at home. There was a person who was a non-trained police officer. With respect, she joined the police and she's heading our training currently. She was deployed as a head of crime intelligence at one stage by Jacob Zuma.
Will I be correct that you were actually being punished for being disciplined?
I believe so. I believe so, Honorable Member, because it did not only end there. It was not only about sitting at home. It was sitting at home and state security, crime intelligence, deploy counterintelligence against Mkhwanazi, against Khumalo, against Masimon. So we were not just kept at home, but we've been monitored 24/7.
General, you know, you speak interestingly about 2011, especially in relation to crime intelligence. What was happening in 2011? Because some of us for sure were very young, we can't remember properly. What was happening in 2011? Because you keep on referring to 2011, and we're trying to imagine what really happened in the crime intelligence in 2011, which you see it now and gives you those flashbacks of what happened in 2011.
I said, honorable members, I wouldn't want us to maybe go too deep back, but many things were pronounced, ventilated at the Zondo Commission about intelligence, things that were happening. I will invite you to go and read that report again. But at crime intelligence at the time, what was dominating the media space was the looting of the secret fund account in such a manner that it ended up getting a name of slush fund. Majority of the citizens know it as slush fund. It's not a slush fund. It's a secret service account. But because it was misused to that extent, it then became a slush fund. That's what was dominating the media space in 2011 when I came in, which was a sore point within crime intelligence.
But I'll also invite you to go and check my YouTube at that time where I said, when you speak on the phone, you must first greet General Mthethwa before you speak to the person you're speaking about, because they were known for illegal interceptions at that time. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. That's why General Cele himself, as initial commissioner at that time, fell victim of the same thing.
Now, you now are back, you're appointed. I know you went acting, came back, and then you appointed a provincial commissioner in KZN. How does that happen now? And what is the minister's position in relation to that? Did you object to your appointment or anything of that sort? Or there was consensus that you must go to KZN?
You're talking about 2021?
No, when you became full-time, yeah, not acting.
Look, when I approached the National Commissioner in December, there were delays. I met with the minister because he needed to be consulted. Minister Cele at that time did not want me to leave the head office. He wanted me to stay remain at the head office. And he felt that maybe my expertise would be wasted if I go to the province. I'm better off to assist at the national level. But I pleaded with him that I needed a new challenge. So it took that long until March. That is when I think they started engaging with the executive in the province, where the agreement was reached, and then I was informed that I can go and start in April. So starting from December until March, it was there was a long time of discussions. At that time, the provincial commissioner had left, and there was someone acting. And so I came in to take over from someone who was already acting at the time. My aim was to be appointed before the provincial commissioner leaves, so that we can do the handing over, which is something I did when he came in 2019. When he came in, I sat with him for about a week doing handing over before I went back to Pretoria. I wanted to do the same thing when I was going in, but because of that delays, he ended up leaving without doing that handing over.